Hi there, friends. I'm Scott Wakefield, lead pastor of Frist Christian Church of Greene County, Tennessee, and I'm here this evening with
Charity Damrau.
And we're going to have a coffee convo. Hold for awkward pause. All right. So, Charity, thanks for joining us tonight.
Sure.
In case you're unaware, folks who are joining us, this is live, and we are here tonight with our new Kidsmen Director, Charity, who has been with us for a whopping almost a week.
This finishes my week.
Yeah, an official week. How do you feel after your week?
Wow.
That's a wow.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot, but it's been great. I'm very excited to get things going.
Yeah, we are too. We're glad to have you. We've been working toward having you on for quite a while, so glad that you're around. We're going to talk quite a bit about Charity's growing up life and who she is and how she got here. So let's start, Charity, with why don't you tell us, and by the way, folks, make sure you join in the comments and jump in there and ask questions. I think last week we sort of waited to the end for questions. We're going to do questions as we go. So, folks, throngs of people, if not thousands, are out there chopping at the bit to ask questions. So we'll go ahead and do that as we go. So tell us, let's start off with all the good, normal history stuff, like where you're from, how'd you get to today. Give us whatever that history that's helpful to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay, sure. I grew up here, not in Greene County, but just over the line in Washington County, in a little community called Bowmantown.
Bowmantown. Yeah. We Greene Countyans know where that is.
Yeah, it's not too far. When I was little, we went to church at Mount Bethel.
Yep.
So that's just down the road. We moved to Central Christian in Jonesboro, the little brown brick church.
Yeah. Downtown.
When I was in college, my parents then moved to Boones Creek Christian, and they still go there. And we were there after I got married.
Who married you? My predecessor.
Good question.
From here, Frist Christian married you, Charles Reese.
Yes, Charles. Oh, I thought you were talking about Matt, but yes, Charles officiated our marriage. Yes, Charles Reese.
Yes,
while he
did
was still at Boones Creek.
Yeah.
He performed our wedding on the same exact day that you were getting married to Dagny.
I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, so we share an anniversary, so that's pretty cool.
What year were you all married?
97. I'm telling you.
Like the same day?
Yeah, the same day. Yeah. Isn't that weird coincidence? Yeah.
I'm sure you told me that part before, but I had forgotten that part escaped me.
Yeah.
As do many things. Well, yeah.
So we were at Boones Creek when we first got married, and I'll explain the we there in a minute.
Yeah.
And
who's the we?
And when my kids were young, I needed a part-time job. Happened to see a job opening at Blumpville Christian Church.
Mm-hmm.
Felt completely unqualified to be there. I had only been a volunteer at Boones Creek. I hadn't been on staff, anything like that. But I applied.
But you were doing Kidsmen.
I was doing Kidsmen.
Yeah. At Boones Creek.
I was there every Sunday doing many hours of work.
Yeah.
But just I hate that. Just a volunteer.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as just a volunteer.
Correct. There is not. We're all paid by the same source. It's all God's money.
Right. Ended up at Blumpville. Helped build a Kidmin there. They had a small program going. We did some great things. Learned a lot. Had a lot of great people there. A lot of great families that we learned as we went.
Yeah.
And then just kind of out of the blue, this job came open, and you guys contacted me, and I wasn't looking at the time, but sometimes God pushes you in the right direction, and I think that's what happened this time.
And you thought, I feel insane enough to take on
something like that.
Yeah.
But
So tell us more about the we
the
that
we.
you alluded to and your family, and tell us about all that good stuff.
Sure. My family is my husband, Matt. We've been married for almost 23 years. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Almost, yes.
Yes,
I think that's right.
almost.
Yes.
Just a few weeks. We have 5 kids. Zeb is 20. He's a student at ETSU. He's a senior.
Cool.
Adelaide is a sophomore at ETSU. Beatrice is a senior at University School, which is on ETSU's campus. Although it's a K through 12, but it's their part of the college. It's a weird mix-up.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 sophomores at University School. Abigail is 15, and Ezra's 15.
All 5 are on ETSU's campus.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Matt. How'd you guys meet? All that good stuff.
Okay. Matt is I'm from here.
Yeah.
Matt's from Marietta, Georgia. We met at Georgia Tech. I'm a year older than he. And we met on yearbook staff. And I finished up, he graduated from Georgia Tech. I actually started there, finished up at Tennessee Tech.
Cool.
We both have engineering degrees. I'm a chemical engineer. He's an electrical and industrial engineer.
Okay.
He works for Eastman,
Yeah.
but not as an engineer. He works. I know, it's great.
The percentage of people
We
who
got
work
those
in
engineering degrees.
the career for which they were planning is increasingly less than it used to be.
Yeah. You know.
So tell us more about how you and Matt met. Not where, but like how.
Well, okay. So I was yearbook editor, and he was the photography editor. So I was his boss, kind of.
And nothing's changed.
And nothing's changed. No. But no, it was great. He was such a great helper to me for that whole year. It was a very stressful year, and he really stuck by my side, and great things happened. So we long distanced it for a little while I was at Tennessee Tech.
Yeah.
But
How long were you all long distance?
that's hard.
My wife and I
year
were
and a
long
half, 2
distance
years
for
maybe?
like. It's funny how those things all sort of. I think it was 2.5 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe three full years. Yeah. Of course, she was a freshman when I was a senior at Wheaton, so we were long distance for a while. But yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, but it worked out. And he's been stuck with me ever since.
Yes, indeed. So, Charity,
Yes.
you, personality-wise, naturally are breakfast or dinner?
Okay, now we have to clarify, because dinner means different things.
Okay.
My family has been here, Appalachia, for a very long time.
Yes.
And my grandmother insisted there was no such thing as lunch. It was breakfast, dinner, and supper.
Oh, yes. I was going to say, you must call it supper
So,
then.
yeah. I actually don't do breakfast anymore.
So, supper.
So, yeah, I'm a dinner supper person.
Are you a naturally early or late person? Up early, stay up late?
I do better early.
Yeah?
And
Do you have like a morning routine?
No, I've got kids. So no,
Yeah.
we're not good at that. But as far as like if there's a meeting, I'm early. If something's going on, I'm early. Oh, I can't stand to be late.
You are a planner.
I am.
You are I got stuff that's planned and in place and ready and prepared beforehand, weeks beforehand, etc. I'm kind of
Yeah.
piecing some of that together and getting to know you a little bit the first week. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Oh, I cannot stand.
So you're a kids ministry engineer.
Yeah,
Hey, that's not a
just
bad thing.
created a new term.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
I mean that as a.
Can I have that on a business card?
We can put that on the
Engineer. Yeah.
maybe a plate on the desk.
Sounds good.
Yeah, what do they call it? Nameplate or something. Yeah. Your new title is Kids Ministry Engineer. Engineer of Kids Ministry. Are you Are you more extrovert or introvert?
I am such a stinking introvert.
That's acceptable.
I try. I really try to push myself.
Yeah.
And there's times where I can.
So what do you think I am? I know. I'm
You're
just kidding.
such an obvious extrovert.
Are you more thinker or feeler?
Thinker.
Okay. What do you think I am?
Ooh.
Thinker or feeler? That's a hard one for me.
It is a hard one for you, and
Yeah.
you're a good mixture, I think. But I think you're more of a thinker.
I think I'm a feeler.
Really?
Yeah. I'm an intuitive thinker,
Okay.
if there is such a thing. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely extroverted. On most of the like Myers-Briggs tests and those kind of personality profiles, I come off as a feeler. But in the Wakefield family, we love words and thinking well and thinking accurately and in measured ways with evidence, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Like I just wrote off thousands of years of history of reasoning and philosophy and logic. So I grew up learning to verbalize things a certain way and think a certain way, even though I think I'm a feeler. But I realize the irony of saying I think I'm a feeler even as I say it. Are you more fighter or peacemaker?
Oh, that's hard. Ooh, that's really hard.
You're clearly a thinker and not a feeler. Because I got my answers for me ready right there.
Really, for that one?
Yeah, for all of them.
If I really believe in something, I'm gonna fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
But I have learned to pick my battles, and I
Sure.
am so ready to let everything else go. So.
Apathy is my best personal policy, but only because I'm a fighter. Yeah. All right. So, what are some of your favorite foods, hobbies? If you've got, let's go with foods.
Foods. Oh, man. The thing is, I love carbs. I love bread. And my doctor put me on a gluten-free diet starting 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, we talked about this a bit earlier this week. Yeah. I didn't remember that it was that recent.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So that stinks. And I'm also, for my hobbies, I love to bake. So, and he did this to me right before the holidays.
So, do you feel better? Or does that take longer?
I think it's going to take longer.
Does it?
Yeah.
I don't know that well.
I
don't pay attention that well.
I don't either.
But a lot of folks are having to be gluten-free or something like that.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
I'm actually hoping it doesn't work. He's like, forget it. We'll just let it go.
Cool.
But no,
so let's
we'll
go the
see.
hobbies direction a bit. If you've got time and space, which of course doesn't exist, but if you got time to do what you want to do, what do you do?
I love to read.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of time to read, but I love Audible, and I've got the Libby app, and I've always got a book or a podcast or something in my headphones.
Okay.
So that's great.
In what particular genres or areas of interest are you reading or listening to books or podcasting, whatever?
And that depends. If I'm relaxing, it's junk. It's sci-fi or young adult garbage. It's
young adult garbage.
Yeah,
is that the technical term
that's
for
the
that
technical
genre?
term. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I search for.
Young adult garbage. I don't think you want to probably Google that for.
Probably not.
Probably not. Sci-fi.
But, yeah.
So a lot of fiction, or nonfiction.
Some nonfiction. And I'm getting better.
What do you mean by getting better?
I'm trying to educate myself more. Pick up
More
some of the things
non-fiction-y?
some of the things that I don't really know a lot about. History was not my strong suit in high school or college, so I'd like to learn a little bit more. So
there's something about middle age and becoming like an actual adult. Sorry, I just
Did you
threw
insult
I just insulted
me?
no, not you,
everybody?
but millions of throngs of dozens of people out there. There's something about when your kids get into their teens and you get to be old enough, and the adult responsibility is something that you actually like. It defines your life, and it's not just this youthful enthusiasm of the past. There's something about all that means you care about your roots and history and how it got here, and understanding that in yourself and seeing that in your kids and in your family, that I think sparks a lot of that interest. I've had a lot of that history spark in the last 5 to 10 years. I've been real interested in ways that I was educated those ways. I did it because school meant that you had to.
But when it's for
can see
school,
that.
it's so easy to cram those facts in there just for the test and then just let them go.
So you're not naturally a nonfiction reader.
No.
Yeah, I'm exactly the opposite.
Really?
Oh, I can't tell you the last fiction book I read.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. It's probably because I had to in high school or college, most likely.
Huh.
Questions have come in.
Ooh.
Are you a cat or a dog person?
Oh. Okay. I have to preface it by saying I love dogs. I do. We have a dog.
Yeah, we've got two. I love them because I love my family, not because I love dogs. You are a cat person.
I am a cat person.
So you're prefacing.
Well, the dog people.
You can get a disclaimer
they're
like
militant.
Well,
they're very protective of their pets,
Yeah.
and I do love dogs.
why do you
But,
like cats better?
They're less demanding, and I already have a very packed schedule.
I think I'm a cat person now because I don't love our dogs. I put up with them. I grant that they exist, and I hardly help them live. But I only do it because I love my family and they want dogs. So I walk in, I go, "Hello, beast," and I move on.
Yeah.
And I think actually my relative apathy and sort of what's the word? I'm sort of removed from caring. They know I'm the alpha.
Mm-hmm.
They've known it because I don't pay them a lick of attention. That's how we parent in our house.
That's how I'm with my kids.
No. So you're a cat person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. So how do you toast your marshmallows?
Oh.
Do you like?
Are my kids sending these in?
No, this is my own. This is my daughter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. The perfect toasted marshmallow is when you go slow at first,
Yeah.
so that it gets melty all the way through.
Agreed. So far.
Okay.
Yes.
But then you have to actually catch it on fire.
I totally agreed. Absolutely.
You have to spin.
I'm with
you have to spin the stick so that the fire makes it all the way around and then blow it out.
Yes. You have to engineer.
Yes.
The perfect marshmallow. Yes, I like it.
I thought that was my kids asking because they know how I like my marshmallows, and so when we do s'mores, I don't even have to make my own s'mores anymore because they
know the
will
drill.
Step up and do it for
Step
me.
up. Step up, kids. So I have a thing that I'll do. I'll get it nice and evenly, and then I'll catch it on fire, but quickly blow it. Well, not always quickly, but quickly blow it out. And then I'll take the whole thing off, because at that point it's just kind of this charcoaly, and I'll take the whole thing off, eat that, and then do it again, because then it's just right. Because if you got the average size marshmallow, it's way too big for one of those little s'moresy things. So I usually take the thing off and then do it again, and then I've got it right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
You have to have the right ratio.
2 minutes on toasted marshmallows. That's good. Oof. Good questions here. Thank you, peeps. Yes. Good questions. What's one goal you would set and try to accomplish in your first year with us?
Whew.
Yes.
Okay. There's like a million.
There are.
Do I have to pick one?
You don't have to pick one, but you can
I'll
start with one.
With two. How's this? Okay.
Sounds great.
Number one, I want a really good grasp on our volunteer and our volunteer culture, and I want to learn everybody and your strengths and your weaknesses, and where you feel comfortable, where you're serving because you just feel plugged in, where you really want to be. So I really want to get a good grasp of our volunteers.
Yeah.
So that's probably goal number 1.
Yeah.
Goal number 2, and this will kind of just be dependent on when we're able to meet in larger groups together.
Yeah.
But kid ministry is really one large facet of family ministry. And something that I have done in the past that I'm so eager to get back to is an FX, which stands for Family Experience. The curriculum that we're with, Orange, does a great job of providing a monthly FX that brings the whole family together. The kids actually bring their parents to service, and we share with the whole family what we're going to be studying that month. Get everybody excited, do some crazy skits and games and things as a family. But
engineer some skits, engineer some games.
Absolutely. But I love it. FX is one of the best things about Kid Men.
Yep.
And I can't wait till we can finally get that off the ground.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little while because, of course, people have to be meeting closer together than we're able to right now.
But FX is a really cool thing that we have not done that would be really helpful. That's a good thing for some folks out there to hear, because I think that'll be helpful for a lot of our parents to get an understanding of, here's what my kid's learning, and be ready to implement the kinds of things like Parent Cue and the email we send out and stuff that's on the app. That I think the way we're doing it now is only an after the fact thing. FX will be really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, the way Orange describes it is great. We at the church only have your kids for 40 hours a week.
Right.
I'm sorry, 40 hours a week. 40 hours a year.
And on average, it's not 50-something like you'd think it is. It's way below that.
Yeah, because you
People
go on
don't come.
vacation,
Yeah.
you've got a ball game or something, or somebody gets sick for some reason, you can't be here. So 40 hours a year is not nearly enough to really instill the love of Jesus in a child. So it takes the family, it takes that extra support. And so to be able to show the family, what we're doing at church so that we can support each other, that's where the real magic happens.
Good stuff. Absolutely. So what draws you to KidsMin, to this particular ministry, and then to Frist Christian?
I never wanted to be a teacher. My mom was a first grade teacher for Washington County Schools. She actually ended up at Jonesboro. She taught first grade next to Almagene.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Huh.
So because I saw how tough teachers had it, and boy, do they deserve our praises, I did not want that. But because I could see what she did and what some of her coworkers did, I knew how to do it. When I was at Boones Creek, even before we started having kids, we volunteered in the nursery. We got involved with some of the young kids there. And really, even back when I was a teenager, I loved that some of the students around here are running around so invested in the kids ministry. Because that was me. In high school, I'm in the church nursery helping out or whatever.
That was me too.
Really?
I mean,
it just really instills, a love for ministry when you get involved at a young age with the younger kids. It's great. So through volunteering then at Boones Creek, it just kind of clicked. Hey, I'm actually good at this. It was not planned. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. But it worked out.
So let me reframe a bit of the FCC part of this. What have you seen about FCC culture? I mean, you've only been here a week, and you've only been here one Sunday, and you've only been at one of the campuses, not both of them yet. She was at Charity was at Afton for the first week, overseeing things and getting a feel for things, and you'll be at Greenville this week. What are some thoughts about what you see at FCC, not just in KidsMin, but the culture at large, etc. What's your favorite thing about my preaching? Things like that.
Things like that. I love that you have such a vision, that you see yourselves as kind of, I don't know if you use this kind of terminology. I'm still learning the terminology, but you're kind of a beacon of light to the county, to the community, and
a community focus.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that you have life groups. I love that that you support each other so much. I love the teamwork of the staff.
Yeah.
It's great.
Cool.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite staff member so far, and why?
Anybody want to slip me some money?
They're in the studio right now.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding.
Everybody's been really great, though.
I'm just kidding. Of course, I don't really mean that. But you can go ahead and tell why I am, if you'd like. Another question that came in is this. What's one thing that would surprise us to know about you?
Ooh.
One thing
Oh, that's hard.
to know that would surprise us about you.
I don't know if it would surprise anybody, but just some bizarre trivia. If I could do any job, if I could have any job on the planet, I would love to work for Jim Henson Studios
Huh, really?
in any capacity.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would be a great puppeteer, but I would love to have the opportunity to write scripts or to craft Muppets or something.
What makes you say that? What about all of that sounds like your dream job? Other than kids been to Frist Christian Church, what about it is appealing to you?
That's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
The Sesame Street is 51, just turned 51, and I'm 48. So that was the only TV show for kids when I was little. There were no
Sesame Street and it.
Other than Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
That was
I grew
all.
up on the same things. Uh-huh.
Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, and the Electric Company. That was every afternoon. And then the Muppet Show hit, and I loved it. And it's
So-
absolute magic that those characters, they're totally believable.
Right.
You completely believe
You're drawn
that any
into
of those.
it going on as if it's really a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I love how when they have little kids on the show, there's a puppeteer down there, but the kid never looks. The kid is always talking to the creature.
Yeah.
I love that.
Do you have a favorite Muppet?
When I was little, it was Grover. And now that I'm older, I like Bert.
Oh yeah.
You're an Ernie.
I liked the two guys up in the.
Oh yeah, Statler and Waldorf.
What are their names?
Statler and I can't say it. Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
I would not have. Yeah, I just know them as the two guys who and made jokes the whole time. I don't know Muppets that well. Good stuff. So, another question came in.
Sure.
These have all been from the peeps. Thanks, peeps. What's your favorite part of parenting kids at their current ages?
Oh, wow. Parenting my kids at their ages?
Yeah.
Parenting-
I think that what's your favorite part about parenting at your kids' current ages?
Oh.
Yeah. Because they're all they're emerging adults.
They are. And
I think that's the cool term we're supposed to use, by the way.
when they were younger, I felt like I had such a much better grasp of how to be a good parent.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm nearly as good a parent to teenagers as I was to elementary kids.
Why is that?
They're just hard.
Yeah, it's different.
Teens are hard.
Yeah.
But I've done my best. My favorite thing about them now is that they are fully developed human beings. They know who they are and what they want, and they can tell you. And I know I know people are like, oh, you need to parent your kids. You can't be their friend. And that's true to an extent. But you can also parent them while being their friend.
Well, and they're becoming that age where you can sit down and have an adult conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is so neat.
Yeah. I had a bit of that feeling today at dinner with our 18, are you still 18, Sophie? With our 18, maybe 19-year-old. I have to do the thinking in my head. She's 18 still. So let's go a little deeper into the inner Charity. And let's get there by talking about who have been some of the most important leaders or mentors for you in your walk with God.
I have always had, well, my parents, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We've always been in church since I can remember. I've always had great Sunday school teachers. Crazy thing is you can't always remember who they were, but you can kind of remember being in the moment and that it was a good thing and that it was a welcoming thing.
Yeah. There are a couple that I have to ask my parents every once in a while, wait, what was this person's name? Because I can't even remember their name, but I remember their face. I remember that they were there every week. I remember they were faithful. And those lessons stick with me, even though I can't remember much specifically about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking as you were saying that.
Yeah.
With my own experience.
So, I mean, I've had some great influences when I was younger. And then from the earliest I could go to camp, I always went to camp every summer. I did a week every single summer until I was old enough to be a junior counselor and a counselor, and then there was 2 weeks, and then as I got into KidMin, I took over a week as a program director at Camp ACC.
Mm-hmm.
And through all of those years, even though I remember so few of the actual people that were there, I can't tell you their names or even what lessons they taught, but that still, they poured into me every single summer.
Yeah.
And that was such a positive influence.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. A few years ago, they were changing some things up for program directors. They had all of us in a room, and they asked Aaron Morris, he asked, how many of you guys made the decision to go into ministry at camp?
Yeah.
It didn't have to be this camp, but
Right.
a camp.
Sure.
I believe every single hand went up.
Yeah.
And just, if you don't have your kid in some kind of summer program, do it. It's one thing for them to see Jesus through your eyes and the people that they see every single day and every single week.
Right.
But to get away and to be able to explore that on their own terms for a week, it's something different.
In an environment that's different than the everyday, that is a place where you're freer to focus on your relationship with Christ.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Camp, I don't think, I can't remember a time where I decided to make a decision. That was good. When I decided I'm going into ministry, because I think I always knew it somehow, and I just, there was never a time where I didn't think I'll be doing ministry. I flirted with, I'm going to coach soccer and do law and get a PhD in something and just teach, which I tried to do a PhD twice, and I am not that guy. But camp and then other conferences and things you'd go to away from the normal routine were moments, those were mileposts and signposts for me all along the way of, yep, this is what I'm wanting to do and made to do in life.
Right.
Yeah.
And every kid's different. I mean, for some it's going to be getting out in the wilderness, spending some time there. For some kids it's going to be in a group, a weekend retreat or TCTC or something. But just to have a change of scenery, somewhere that you can go and experience Jesus on a different level, it just makes all the difference.
Yeah. So, what have been some of the most challenging things in your life, in your past, maybe even current, but what are some of the most difficult things that you've had to overcome, and how did that end up making you stronger, who you are today? What'd you learn? Those kinds of
Wow,
things.
I don't think that question was on the list.
It was definitely on the list.
Something I've had to overcome.
You remember quite clearly that it was number 6 on the list, lady.
I have been extremely blessed.
Sure.
I know so many people that have had to overcome so many difficult things, and it's not that I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop or anything like that,
But don't minimize
no,
it. There's something for you that's been a challenge, a faith struggle, a time of doubt, particular issues that have been hard to work through spiritually.
yeah, sure. College was tough.
Why's that?
First of all, going to Georgia Tech, Atlanta is a very fun city to be a college student in.
Are you telling us you had some fun in Atlanta?
I had a lot of fun in Atlanta. And to make it even
I'm hoping your
better-
kids are listening.
Yeah. My kids are so much wiser than I was. Thank goodness. Also, it didn't help that the ratio of men to women
At Georgia Tech?
at Georgia Tech at the time was 6 to 1.
6 to 1.
Yeah. So
6 to 1 males to females.
yeah, at the time it's better now, but I had a really good time.
Yeah. Okay.
No one on campus, I won't say no one, but very few people, went to church, attended any kind of service, anything like that. It was a time that I just kind of put that area of my life on hold for a few years.
So, in college, being a Christian was a struggle in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Because the intellectual environment wasn't amenable to being a Christian. It wasn't friendly.
Not necessarily. And I kind of hate that so many people are down on, America's colleges taught kids out of being Christians. And that's not necessarily true. It's that stage of life that talks
that's
you out
definitely
of
a
being,
factor. Yeah,
that talks you out of being a Christian. That area, but when you've got your freedom, that you're finally an adult, you're not tied down with marriage yet, and you've got that time to just kind of find yourself. It's hard to be disciplined. It's hard to walk the walk.
Yeah.
When there are so many things vying for your attention.
Yeah.
Had I wanted to, to really pursue God at that point, there were absolutely avenues.
There were opportunities, sure.
Yeah.
So, what got you out of that time of sort of, however you want to describe it, putting my Christian life on pause in a sense, to whatever extent that was true or not? What got you out of that? Just growing out of it? Because you just alluded to some of that's developmental youth sort of factors.
Right. After I got married and we moved back here for job purposes, we attended sporadically with my parents at Boones Creek, but it was when I started serving. That's the hook.
That's the answer we like to hear.
Yeah, that's what gets you in and keeps you. I mean, when you're part of the team.
Yeah, for sure.
When you know that there are people depending on you.
Mm-hmm.
When you can see that the little bit that you do really is something big for someone else.
Yeah.
That's what did it for me.
Would you say that was when the ideas that you'd grown up with and the theoretical stuff you had about this is who God is and this is what it means to follow Jesus, and those kinds of things became practice and practical and active, that was what you mean by the serving was what made the difference for you then?
Yeah, I mean, my views on who God was and was specifically to me, they didn't change.
Yeah.
I had all of that fairly well organized in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But just putting that last little piece into place of actually being part of his team, of his kingdom, of his hands, being his hands and feet, I guess.
Yeah. Good. What are you seeing and learning because of COVID?
Whew. That's such a dangerous question.
If you're watching years from now, we're in 2020, which is probably all the explanation that future years might need. But
yeah.
What are you seeing and learning because of COVID? Because we've been in COVID now for 8.5 or so months.
Mm-hmm.
That's about right. Yeah.
I have learned that I don't predict people's behavior very well. People don't behave the way I thought they would behave.
Yeah. What makes you say that about the COVID stuff in particular? Did you think that they were going to be...
I didn't realize it would be so divisive.
Okay.
I mean, I remember 9/11 very well.
Yeah.
And how in the aftermath, everybody really pulled together. National tragedy.
Yeah. Terrible
things happened, but it just really unified, at least for a short time, the country. And if I had to predict a month before COVID, hey, if a pandemic hit, well,
how would America
behave?
Respond? Yeah.
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we'll work as a team.
Yeah, we'll come together.
Yeah.
We'll fight through it as a nation. Yeah. Yeah, I think the identity politics stuff and the politicization of things, and the disunifying stuff is way more the case, just like you're saying, that we're all seeing now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's surprised all of us.
Yeah.
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 And I think in cogent moments, regardless of what side of the political aisle anybody's on, I bet everybody's going, whoa.
Right.
Wow, this was there? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody would have
predicted
the way things have panned out. I hope we're learning something. And that's not to say that
I hope we are too. Yeah. Do you think we are? And what?
I don't know. At moments, I think we are. At moments, I see, that glimmer of hope, and there's some really positive things going on. But then you get on social media, and you're like, oh, nope.
Well, as we've already covered, I'm an extroverted freakazoid, and I can't do social media. I go on a bit to see things here and there, and like and share church stuff, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I love it because it does let me stay in touch with people.
Yeah.
But I just have to pretend a lot with some of the things that I read.
Alrighty, so if you were president and you could, by executive fiat, do something today that would be in this idea of, we said we weren't going to talk politics, but I don't really mean this to be political, to bring the divisiveness together for us as a country, what would it be?
Wow. Have you thought of this?
Not at all.
If you were president, what would you do?
Hey, I'm interviewing you. I'm not sure in terms of executive order stuff or what I don't even know. I don't have a good idea of what the president can and can't do in terms of executive order. I mean, I understand divisions of powers and checks and balances in generic senses, but I think that I would refuse to, and I hope I would be doing this as president, period. Refuse to give in to the identity politics stuff from either side. Like I'm a flaming right-wing Burkean conservative nut job. I said that in the sermon this past Sunday. But if this were going on, and even before it, without the pandemic, I would try to model, let's not worry about the identity politics stuff, and model, we need to be focused on, well, as it relates to COVID, it's hard to say. But I think I would just try to model sanity, normalcy, being reasonable, steady and healthy, like personally, in how I spoke,
Right.
and even try to say, hey, here's what I think we need to be doing in terms of the economy, in terms of medically, and the things, because of course you've got all these people behind you telling you in all these various places, here's what we think you should be doing, and you go, okay, yeah, sounds good, let's go here, and saying, here's what I think we should do, these things and these things and these things, and not everybody does, I get it, that's okay. We think it's going to help because, and then I would also say, hey, Democrats on the other side of the aisle, what versions of these things can you get behind so that we can come together? But of course, it's you say that in theory, that I could model that as president, but the identity politics stuff nowadays means it wouldn't matter what you'd say. It would be taken by all the constituencies in a way that's about them getting their agenda moved forward.
Right.
In a way that makes it sound like the case I'm making is you almost couldn't say something that would help.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't know how to answer the question.
Yeah.
I don't, and thank goodness I'm not president.
I know, I used to think, I would love to be president. Now I think, there's no way I would
no.
want to be president.
No way.
Yeah.
That is bottom of the list.
Yeah. Yeah, now that we've not answered that, let's move on to another question. What most excites you about, and you answered some of this a little bit before, what excites you most about the possibilities that you see here at Frist Christian at church, even though it's only been a week? What are some things that you see where you think, oh man, this has got some legs to it and some potential for God to use it in our community? What are some things you're seeing and excited about in those terms?
I love that you guys are tied into the local schools.
Yeah.
That they can see the church as a good place to find help, a good place to find support. I hope, I'm still learning, but I hope that we can extend that, not just through schools, but also to families in the community. So we'll be looking for ways to hopefully do that going forward.
Yeah.
I know that you guys have plugged into Boys and Girls Club and some things like that. So,
Yeah.
so that's great. That's really exciting. I love that church just isn't four walls. It's doing what you can do for the community.
Yeah.
Internally, like I said, I love that from what I've seen, the volunteer base just has such a heart for service.
Yeah.
They want to be here. They want to serve. They want to do their job and to do it well.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that's great. If you ask any kidmin what's the hardest thing, it's volunteers.
For sure. And we've got volunteers who have been faithful, serving on the team, doing a great job, Sunday after Sunday. And they've been feeling it during COVID world, because it's like, oh, we just have all these kids, and and many times now it's like, I'm here with a kid or three. You know,
it's hard. It's hard on the teachers. It's hard on the kids.
Yeah.
You know, kids want to show up to church and see other kids. So it's really tough right now.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the same way with school. I know my own kids that when they get to go there 2 days a week, they're like, but no, my friends are, you know, my friends go the other 2 days a week. So
yes.
it's tough.
We've had that same dynamic. So, last question. What's God teaching you? What's Jesus currently teaching you, and what are you learning?
God's teaching me that He's not done with me yet. I honestly thought that I would stick around at Blumville until my kids were all in college, to be sure that we were financially comfortable, paying tuition times 5, that everything was going smoothly, and then I was going to fade into the sunset, and be a happy homemaker, and you know, putter around in my garden and do those kinds of things. I was looking forward to that. And then
we messed that up.
He kicked over the bucket and said, "You just." And God laughs at me all the time. You know, that's funny. Those were good plans, but you know what? That's not what I've got in mind for you.
Yeah.
So no, he's uprooted me again.
Cool.
Planted me here.
Yep.
It was very obvious that's what he wanted. So we'll see what he's got in store for me.
Yeah. In staff meeting this week, you used the word, I think you said uncomfortable.
Yes.
But I didn't interpret that as I feel uncomfortable so much as stretched. Is that part of what you meant there?
Yeah, it is. And
in our conversation, that doesn't mean you don't know what to do, because in our conversations, you already have lots of ideas about what to do.
Right.
That's not the issue. But stretched in terms of what?
It stretches it outside my comfort zone.
Okay.
There's so many new things, and it's all at once.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you're comfortable, you're not learning.
That's right.
And you're not growing.
That's right.
And so it's a happy uncomfortableness, I guess, if there's such a thing.
No, that's good. We're a place that kind of presses on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess he needed me to be uncomfortable.
Sounds good.
I'm there.
You're in the right place. Are you feeling comfortable right now? Talking about your discomfort in front of throngs of dozens. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for letting us unpack Charity Damrau a bit. Damrau, the pronunciation, the emphasis is on the first syllable.
You've said that so much that people are going to be saying Damrau.
I know, they're going to be overdoing it. I know, and I think in print 3 times I put the Dom part in all caps, and then the row part in small letters next to it there. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for asking good questions about things like toasting marshmallows. That was, I think, my favorite question for the night.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for joining us.